So okay, so the spectral cannon, that's pretty much just a standard gun, isn't it? It does a little bit of splash damage. It's just your general sort of rifle-ish kind of thing.
The starter gun, I think it's kind of good. If you can use it, it is quite good still.
Yeah, so it's a starter gun, and it is actually not a bad gun to use. The assault shotgun pairs quite well with the extended mag perk, because it does massive damage, but you do have to be breathing down their neck for it to be effective. The Ghost Smasher I still haven't unlocked. I don't see the benefit of using it. I'd rather just use a gun, but...
I've seen a lot of people rock it with lightweight.
Okay.
That seems to be quite a nice combo.
Okay, maybe that's worth a try. So there you go. So the Ghost Smasher potentially with lightweight. Sledgehammer, I don't know really between the difference between Ghost Smasher and Sledgehammer. I guess...
The Sledgehammer, you can't hit ghosts, but you can hit them with their props. The Ghost Smasher, you can hit them with the ghosts, but not with the props.
Okay, so the Sledgehammer to me still has no appeal. I don't really see. Project X is that's a very nasty weapon. It builds up very slow, so it takes a while to get firing, but when it does, you get a good few seconds of constant burst, like a Gatling gun almost. SMG is very good for tapping objects. I personally would say is good for just finding out where props are. It's kind of hard to hit them when they start running, and it doesn't do a lot of damage.
It slows them though as well.
Oh, it slows them as well, so there you go. So that also slows the props, so there you go. So it's quite effective. I guess that pairs quite well if you're with players that have like a shotgun, so they can get close. The Reaper is pretty much... I don't think anyone actually uses it for the scope. It's a sniper. I know I use it just to hip fire. And it is... even after the nerf, it's still very accurate to hip fire, unless you're sprinting around, which you're not really sprinting if you're firing it. It attaches a dart to them, which does damage over time. It does initial damage when you hit them, it does damage over time, and then it does damage when it explodes as well. Harpoon Bazooka, which I think has been nerfed now, hasn't it? You basically just attach a chain to the ghost, and it just means they can't get away. You can hold them in place. It does a little bit of damage over time, it's a very small amount of damage, but it's more just to hold them in place until your team gets there. Riot Shield, I haven't used.
Tends to favour midnight, really, if you want to just try
I think that...
it out.
Yeah, there you go. So, yeah, exactly. So, if you Ghosts have made it to midnight, and you just, I don't know, want to tank damage, you're not really going to do much damage, are you? With the Riot Shield. But Flamethrower, I haven't unlocked, but it does actually seem quite good. Probably something I should get at some point. It's quite good for finding out where people are, I think. Would you say?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely, yeah. Shit DPS, but it will, tell you if someone's there.
Yeah, because you could just basically spray everything and you wait until you get a health bar. So that's quite strong. So radar, when ghosts stand still, they build up ectoplasm. The radar just helps you determine where they are. Vacuum, you can suck up killed ghosts. If you vacuum them, they can't be revived. Defibrillator, obviously you can revive fallen hunters. Medkit has 3 uses. You can throw it on the floor so your teammates can use it, or you can just use it for yourself. Again, good against aggressive ghosts. Spectrophone, I haven't used yet, so don't fully know how this works. I think, you just point it at items and it'll give you readings.
It's the opposite of the radar. So the radar's positional, whereas the spectrophone's directional, I think is the key difference.
Oh, right, okay. Oh, yeah, there you are. Fully directional, not positional. Okay, cool. So that could be quite useful. If one of your team has got a radar and they know someone's in the room, you could point that at them and you're probably going to find them.
Probably a good time to start explaining C4 for this map. Yeah.
Pathfinder. Basically, if a ghost decides to run for it, you can get out your Pathfinder and they leave a trail behind them, so you can follow them. It pairs quite nicely with radar, so if the person with the radar knows what room they're in and finds them and they run off, you can follow them and you can lead your team to them. The trap...
15 seconds for Pathfinder, isn't it?
Yes, 15 seconds. Yeah, the trail lasts for 15 seconds before it disappears. So it's plenty of time. If you have to be really slow not to follow it. The trap is very good, just for holding ghosts in place. Play it in doorways. It's quite good after midnight. Hunters use it quite often at midnight. Grenade is pretty self-explanatory. You throw it, it has an area effect, and it can stick to the ghost if they're a prop.
Yeah.
It doesn't happen very often, but yeah, it's good for like flushing them out of a room if you know where they are, if you know what room they're in. Grappling hook I haven't used yet, but it's a good way for hunters to get around the map if you're chasing a prop. Again, I haven't used it. I don't really know how effective it is. Rowan's favourite, C4.
Yep.
Again, just like a grenade, but even bigger damage. yeah, if they're in a small room, if you're in a small room with lots of props, probably quite a good thing to use because yeah, there's so much splash damage. You're gonna get a hit, at least a hit marker, if not a kill. So yeah, that's those pretty much explained. Okay, yeah, cool. So perks, I'll just run through these quickly. Lightweight, pretty self-explanatory. You run faster. Good for chasing ghosts, really. Healing aura heals you periodically over time and allies in the close vicinity. So if you're gonna go around as a team, probably quite good. Cold-blooded, so you can't be seen through walls because one of the perks for the ghosts is you can see hunters through walls. So that can be quite handy. It can also be handy after midnight as well, I think, because then when the ghosts are hunting you, that's extra helpful. But it does lower your health to use it. Juggernaut gives you more health, but you are slower, I think. Quick reload, pretty self-explanatory. Reload quicker, extended mag, you get more ammo. Pairs quite well with a shotgun. Doesn't sound like a lot, but that third extra bullet does a lot of damage.
Yeah, 100%.
Extra gear. So if you got C4, I guess you get 3 lots of C4, which could be devastating in a small room. Overkill, you can have 2 weapons, and gadgeteer, you can have 2 gadgets. I don't know why you would have 2 gadgets and no weapons. You've got no way to kill the ghosts then.
You could go full bombardier and just go grenades.
You could, but you could do some crazy strats, and this game opens itself up to lots of crazy strats, which is why I love it. So the ghost abilities, Phantom, you start with, you go invisible for a few seconds. Pretty useful actually, I still use that now quite often. Spirit, you can fly for a short amount of time. Again, very good on maps where there's multiple levels, so you can fly up to like 2nd floor, 3rd floor, whatever. That's quite a useful one. Doppelganger is, again, that's more of an aggressive ability. That one, you basically clone yourself, you become one of the hunters, and if the hunters aren't looking for it, it can be very hard to spot, because you're not. You look very similar, actually. There's not much difference at all. The only way you'll know is if you see, hang on a sec, there's 2 Rowans. One of them's going to be a fake. Poltergeist, again, is another aggressive perk. You can just levitate. Is it 5 pieces, 5 items you can levitate? Yeah, so you can levitate 5 items. If a hunter gets too close, it launches at them, which pairs very nicely with Corruptor, actually. So Corruptor is... it corrupts an item, and if a hunter destroys it, it does small area damage, it explodes. So if you put that on something that already does damage when it launches at someone, it explodes as well. You do a lot of damage. Telekinesis is another one that's used by aggressive players. Does damage. You can choose an object and launch it at people basically in your chosen direction. Trickster I haven't used yet, but to be honest, I don't really know what's that one. Do you know any more about that, Rowan? I don't know.
No, it seems very similar to Poltergeist in my eyes, but
it seems very similar to telekinesis, just without the damage.
Yeah.
So yeah, so you can play tricks on people with that. I wouldn't probably, if you're going to use that, you might as well just use telekinesis, to be honest. And then if you do hit someone by chance, you at least damage them. Apparition, summons a fake ghost. Probably quite good actually for trying to escape. Where do we get to? Apparition, I think. Oh, Death Grip. I was on Death Grip. So anyway, yeah, Death Grip. Death Grip is good for aggressive plays and probably evasive as well, actually. It's a trap ability. Yeah. So if the hunters are chasing you, you just whack your Death Grip down, it'll hold on to them, giving you a chance to get away. Or if they're in a room where there's loads of poltergeists and stuff, obviously it holds them in place. And obviously if you're the hunter, you just need to shoot it, I think, and it'll break it. Miasma is just fart gas. If you get a bit scared and a hunter's about to find you, you just pop one off, and then it pretty much covers. it just covers your escape. And yeah, Corruptor, I think I touched on, but yeah, you can turn objects into little explosive bombs, really.
Going back to Miasma, it can also damage the generator, which is quite nice.
It can damage, yes, and it damages players as well if they follow you through it as well. Actually, yeah, it's worth mentioning. What have I not? We did Haunt. Oh yeah, so these are these we can whiz through. So Chill, basically when you die as a ghost, you're not out the game. You can still sort of hinder the sort of experience of the hunters and help your team a bit. Chill actually is the first one you get, and I actually find it probably the most useful. It just slows hunters down for a few seconds, so if they spot one of your teammates as the ghost, it's really useful for giving your teammate a chance to get away. Healing orb, you can spawn a healing orb, so if your teammate has low health, they can just grab it. Cold spot is good if someone's got a radar. You can sort of lead people on a bit of a false trail, although it's sometimes, once you're used to it, it's kind of obvious if someone's using false spot because it spikes right to one end and then just goes straight back down. False trail is, you can leave a false trail, so if someone's got a pathfinder, you might lead them away from the actual trail from your teammate. Hallucinate I haven't used. It spawns a random sound and it sounds like ghost activity, but not many people use the spectrophone, so that isn't very useful at the moment. You can push an object, not overly useful. It can confuse them.
Just used for trolling, I think, really, isn't it?
Yeah. Shove the hunter is actually very useful on some maps where there's lots of levels, like Ghost Ship. You can push hunters off the edge, very useful. And medium, you can talk through the actual game chat, even though you're dead, and just sort of get on the nerves of the enemy. Okay, so perks for a ghost, just to go through quickly. Ghostly Reach, you can possess things from further away. It's good for running away. Ecto Slow just slows up your ectoplasm buildup, but I think at the moment that's not a great perk because you're detectable on radar, whatever your amount of ectoplasm, so until they sort of address that, I think that's not so great. Shatterproof is probably Rowan's best perk. There's some strats where you can just keep yeeting yourself around the map, and basically normally if you yeet yourself as a small object you'll break when you land. With Shatterproof you won't, so that could be a bit of a play. Heavyweight I haven't used. Props just take less damage, I think.
That's quite handy. That's quite handy if you're just sitting in a spot the whole game, not planning on moving.
Yeah, that's not a bad one. Ghostly Focus is probably my most used one. It just refreshes my cooldowns a lot quicker, so I can use my abilities quite rapidly. Perception that's probably my other go-to one, so I can see where the hunters are on the map at all times. Untrappable is quite self-explanatory. You can't fall to hunters' traps. Glutton, you can consume hunters faster. Again, it's not really a perk that you'll probably use much. Blast Resistance might use. Again, self-explanatory. You can't really blow up. Well, you can, but you just take 75% less damage. And Quick Charge, if you are playing aggressive and you like telekinesis and things like that, Quick Charge is also a good one for yeeting items and yourself.